Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone to the Lunchtime Learning Series with the Collaborative U. I am super excited. I'm Dethea, the co-founder of the Collaborative U and brand strategist. Intuitive brand strategist, whatever you want to call it. And I am excited today because we have in the studio none other than Coach Osazi O. Thompson. Woo!
Right.
All right, y'all. And you guys, if you missed him 2 weeks ago, you missed it. And you need to order the replay. And you need to go ahead and book your 15-minute session with him. But I'm not gonna tell you about that. He gonna tell you about that. So I'm gonna step out the way and I'm gonna let Coach O do it. All right, Coach O, I'm putting up your power.
All right. Thank you. All right. All right. So hopefully you guys are ready to get into this. We're talking about life on purpose and more specifically, living your signature life. It's so important that you begin to see the value in you. And not only see the value in you, but see the value that you represent to others. Because it's that value that's going to essentially help you to come into the fullness of living that signature life you were born to live. Living your signature life has everything to do with you delivering the answers that you were born to deliver to the world. And in that, of course, you can enjoy the freedoms, the flexibility, and the time of living your best life. So we're going to get right into it here. Going to the first slide. Understand that living life, somebody say living life. You need to say living life. Living life on purpose requires you to have the correct image. Now, we talk about the correct image. The correct image has a lot to do with you moving into the person you were born to be, not a counterfeit existence or counterfeit lifestyle, but an authentic and genuine lifestyle, the one that you were born to live. Now, if you were on the presentation I did about 2 weeks ago, we went over purpose. And I define purpose as the original intent by design of a creator or manufacturer of any person, place, or thing. So that has to do with an original intent. And so there was an original intent for you. So you need to identify, who am I? Right? You need to identify, where am I from? These are 5 questions that you must answer. You must come to some level of clarity in your life if you're going to live that signature life, right? Otherwise, you'll fall into comparing and competing with yourself with other people, and that's not going to do it. That's not going to help you. The next of the 5 questions, or I like to call them the big 5. Where am I? Why am I here? What can I do and where am I going? So answering question one, who am I, is the question of your identity, right? Understand that we were made in the image of God and after his likeness, and God is a creator. So God made you just like him to be a creator. So understand that you don't have to mimic or try to compete or try to copy anyone. You are an original. And what comes with originality comes creativity. And God made us all to be creators, creators of our world, creators of things in this earth, material things, right? And so what happens is you must first understand that you are creator, just like God. God made you just like him. Where am I from? Where am I from actually has to do with your source, where you're from. Just like a bird comes from a bird, a fish comes from a fish, right? A dog comes from a dog, a cow comes from a cow. Well, God made you in his image and after his likeness, and we came from God. And so we are actually an offspring of God. And so when you begin to think of your life and begin in terms of the signature life you were born to live, there is something unique. There is a unique expression from God that he placed in you that he desires to get expressed in this earth. And so you got to understand that you're from God. And yes, you have made mistakes and will continue to make mistakes. I included. However, we must continue to focus on understanding we are a creator. God has given us gifts, talents, abilities, answers inside of us so that we can be the solutions for our world and in our world. The next question, why am I here, answers the question of purpose. When we talk about you walking in purpose, it has everything to do with the original intent by design of God for you. So you're wired a certain way. You know, sometimes people say, well, I don't like this little quirky thing about me. Well, you should celebrate that. You should embrace that. Why? Because that is a part of your original makeup. Now, I'm not saying that you should stay in that place. However, you should work that gift or work that little quirkiness about you. Why? Because that's something that's going to add value to the life of somebody in this world. What can I do? What can I do answers the question of your potential. This is what you have built inside of you. There are things that you are absolutely capable of doing that you don't even know you can do yet. But what happens is once you're placed in an environment and a demand is placed on you, then it comes out, right? Just like, if I had a bottle of ketchup, and if I held the ketchup upright and just open the top, nothing happens. However, if I squeeze that bottle, what happens? Ketchup comes out. Same thing in your life. Once you're in an environment and a demand is placed on that potential inside of you, those answers are going to flow. Those answers are going to come out. But you have to be planted correctly, and you must be selective about the environment that you are in. Why? Because that's what's going to help you to come into the fullness of who God has made you to be. And then this last question is, where am I going? Where am I going answers the question of destiny. And as a person of purpose, you become the leader in whatever God has called you to do. And those who follow you, you need to be leading them somewhere. So that word destiny is a short word for destination. Where are you? First of all, where are you going? Then where are you leading them? Because anytime you're talking about starting or initiating something in life, there has to be an endpoint. There has to be a destination. Where are you going? Where are you taking them? What is the ultimate conquest here? What is the ultimate thing that you're looking to happen? You got to know that. So understanding law and success. Now that we've understood the image that we have of ourselves, that image shapes where we go in life. That image shapes the relationships we have. That image shapes how much money we make. That image shapes, where we go in life. And it's basically built by understanding your identity, your source, your purpose, your potential, and the destination that you're going. Now, we're talking about living this signature life, understanding that there are certain laws that govern that. There are certain rules, as it were, of success. And so when we talk about understanding law has to do with principles, rules that govern life, business, and wealth. So when we talk about laws are something that cannot be broken, right? Now, I'm not talking about where you broke the law, you ran a stop line, your stop sign or something. That's a rule. And it's important that we begin to understand the difference between rules and laws. Now, when we talk about rules are man-made. Rules are things that are broken all the time. And many times people don't suffer the consequences of it. Why? Because they're not quote unquote caught. However, when we talk about a law, God institute laws in the universe, in our world, in the world we live in. And so a law is something where its judgment and its reward is built into it. And so basically laws, they attract the inherent benefit and judgment of it. So let me give you an example. A law of gravity, right? We are familiar with the law of gravity. What happens is if an individual, whether anybody's looking or not, if they jump off of a building or some high platform, they're going to end up falling. And it's nobody to be around and say, well, you broke the law of gravity. No, that sounds silly, right? Same thing in life, the law of generosity, the law of integrity, the law of giving. These are all laws that govern themselves. There is a reward and a judgment built into it, and it's not man-made. And so when we talk about living your signature life, we have to understand there are laws, because laws make life predictable. Laws make life predictable. If you're taking notes, you want to take this down. The laws that govern our lives, the laws that govern business, the laws that govern wealth and success, they are all the reward and the judgment is built into it already. So that means nobody has to be around to pat you on the back because you are diligent in your work. Scripture says, seest thou a diligent person, they're going to stand before kings. So that means that you don't have to kiss up to anyone. You don't have to try to, quote unquote, measure up to anybody else's standard. If you're operating in the law of integrity, if you're operating in the law of generosity, if you're operating in the laws that govern wealth, it's going to inherently come to you. You don't have to try to do something to make it work for you. The same thing with rules. Rules are something that's man-made, like breaking a law. You run a stop sign, or breaking a law. Somebody, does something based on a law that's been made, right? The man calls it a law, but it's actually a rule. So laws, just to help you out with this, laws are something that a man didn't make. God put laws in order, okay? And there's certain laws that govern your success in life. Now we talk about success, right? Success inevitably is completing a task, right? Success is not a result. It's a destination. Excuse me, it is a result. It's not a destination. So what that means is, in order for you to be successful in living your life, you first have to identify what are the assignments that I need to accomplish in my life? What is my life's purpose? What am I here for? Because if you are not acquainted or don't know why you're here, if you don't understand your purpose, the first thing you're going to do is come into what's called life abuse. I call it life abuse. Just like substance abuse, just like alcohol abuse, so forth. There is a purpose for these things, but if you don't know its purpose, like the late Dr. Miles Monroe said, abuse is inevitable. And that word abuse comes from two words: abnormal use. And so if you're functioning in life outside of the original purpose that God has for you, you're in essence, you're engaging in life abuse. And so what happens is you cannot be successful in life if you don't know your purpose, if you don't have an idea about where you should be headed, about what you should be doing, about the people you should be reaching, about the answers you should be delivering. And so success is a result, is not a destination. Somebody say, well, I'm going to be successful one day. Well, every day that you are going in alignment to identify what problems you were born to solve, you're being a success, right? If you were here 2 weeks ago when I presented, we talked about success, and I put success in a category of understanding that it's something that you start and that you finish based on a knowledge. Success begins by identifying the answers or the problems you were born to solve. And that then becomes your purpose. And so if you are not solving that problem, or if you're not working on your gift to solve the problems that you were born to solve, you cannot be successful. Success should not be viewed as a pursuit, but rather as an accomplishment or an outcome. Simply put, don't look at how much money you make to determine your success. Don't look at the amount of material possessions that you own that determines your success, right? There are a bunch of miserable multimillionaires right now. While I'm giving you this presentation, they are miserable right now. Why? Because they're doing things that they were never born to do, right? They're engaged in life events that they were never meant to be engaged in. Why? Because it's not their purpose. And so success can only be measured by what you have done in comparison to what you have originally been designed to do. So that basically means if I had a scale here, and on this side, I had what you were born to do, and on this side, I had what you've actually been doing in comparison to what you have been born to do. If it's not balancing out, then there's some level of malfunction going on in your life. Why? Because you're not being successful. And I want to really get this home to you, because it's not about how much money you make. I know the world makes a big deal about making lots of money. And yes, we need money. And yes, you should have lots of money. I believe that everybody should be rich, right? I know you're like, well, how's everybody going to be rich? Somebody has to be poor. No, that's just a mentality. There's enough resources in this world for everybody to have more than enough. So understanding this idea of wealth and riches and equating it to success is an off-balance scale. So you want to understand that living my signature life has everything to do with me first identifying what problems I was born to solve, and then every day moving in the direction of solving those problems. That's when I come to success. Why? Because as you see here, success is a result. It's not a destination. It's not a destination. It's not when I get here. It's not when I do that. No, it's every day when you accomplish what you were born to do. The result is success. And so success in your life is not up to God, it's up to you. A lot of people try to put the blame on God. They try to put the blame on the devil. They try to put the blame on their mama-in-law. They try to put the blame on, because I wasn't raised in the house with my parents, Those are all, legit reasons perhaps, but ultimately your success depends on you. Your success depends on your decision of what you're going to do in relationship to you solving them problems that you were born to solve. All right. Laws then that God put into motion will work for you if you work with them. And so the laws and the success go together. Because if you're operating in integrity, right, your way is going to be made plain, right? If you're operating with generosity, you'll never be broke. If you're operating, and understanding great leadership, and you're being the model leader that you were born to be based on what you were born to do, you're going to begin to see the success or the results of the success that you're looking for. All right. So let's talk about this idea of the law of the seed, right? The law of the seed. Whenever you identify what this gift is inside of you, that's the beginning of planting a seed. Because understand it, it's already in you. Listen, Your success is innately built in you. But until you begin to identify what it is and begin to actively take action and engage in that, then nothing happens. So the law of the seed says whatever is in your hand, meaning your gifts, your talents, your abilities, whatever is in your hand has the potential to produce what you desire in your heart. So whatever you have as a gift inside of you, if you mine it, refine it, and deploy it effectively, then you'll begin to get the desires of your heart. Then you'll begin to see that people group coming out of poverty, which is one of my whys, to rid the world of systemic poverty, to rid the world of people suffering because of what I call mistaken identity. They never really understood who they were. They never really identified what they're supposed to be doing, and they don't know the answers that they carry. And so they're just going through life trading dollars, trading hours for dollars, which is why I'm so big on what I call the joinpep.me. It's something that I really believe in. It's the Purpose Empowerment Project. And so what we're doing is helping individuals who may be working in a job right now. They may be in an employee status, but giving them the knowledge, the tools, the resources so that they can cross over, what I like to say, cross over into entrepreneurship based on that seed inside of them. So if you're watching me right now, you know that there's a gift in you, you know there's a talent, there's some ability in you, but you're not working it right now, then you need to go to joinpep.me, www.joinpep.me, because that seed inside of you of a gift is meant to produce the desires of your heart. God uses the gifts inside of us to produce wealth in our own life. And so until you begin to identify what that gift is, what that talent is, how can I apply this into a business? How can I apply this into a product or service? Then it's just lying dormant in you and it's doing you no good. But you want to be a person of purpose. You want to be a person who understands that, wait a minute, in order for me to be successful in life, I'm first going to have to identify the problems that I was born to solve in society. And after I identify that, now I got to work, sharpen my saw so that I can go and be effective in that. And so a couple of things that you want to take away when we're talking about the law of the seed is understand that if you are a person who is perpetually disorganized in your life, clutter, your life is cluttered, your house is cluttered, your car is cluttered, your desk is cluttered, all these just like clutter in your life, then according to scripture, you will come to poverty. And so I'm just telling you the truth about it so that you can begin to operate differently in your life, because your thinking impacts your perception. Your perception impacts your behavior, the way you react, respond, and emote in life. Your behavior over time, it creates habits. And it's those habits in your life that are producing the outcomes and the results that you're seeing right now. So if you want to change that and you want to get the desires of your heart, you're going to have to begin to work that gift. You're going to have to begin to declutter your life and prioritize things in your life so that you have a level of clarity and focus in your life. Which leads me to my next slide, which is what I call the law of recognition. The law of recognition says that everything that you'll ever need to be successful is already in you, like I just said earlier, merely awaiting your recognition of it. It's just waiting on you to recognize it, right? You have to recognize what you carry before anybody else will. Now, true enough, there are times when people will come along in our lives, seasons, opportunities, different relationships, and they'll see something in you. But it still is your responsibility for you to see it so that you can work it, you can develop it, you can refine it. And what happened? You can deploy it, because you'll never come to a level of success in your life until you begin to identify what I was put on this earth to do. What was I born to do? You'll never come into signature living until you begin to identify what is my signature mark on this earth. Everybody has one. If you're watching me right now, you have a signature mark to leave in this earth, an indelible mark that can never be taken away, that should be left in your world and the world around you. Why? Because there's something unique about you. There's something special about you. But until you see it, you can never have it. And so I want to encourage you to begin to identify, what are those gifts inside of you? What are those talents? What are those abilities? So that you can then begin to get a vision like, wait a minute, okay, I was born for this. I'm good at this, or I love to do that, or I'm very, I excel in this. That's a reason for that. And I really would like to have a moment with you, a free, no obligation call. And it's really a discovery call for me to see, how can I help you to actualize your purpose, to meet your goals, to develop into that transformational leader that you were indeed born to be, to help you recognize what you carry. And so I have that set up as a 15-minute consultation, free, no obligation, no charge, no strings attached. I just really want to see, how can I assist you in meeting that and living your signature life. So next we kind of come to the law of agreement. When we talk about this law of agreement, the law of agreement says now you must say what God says about you. Why? Because he's your creator. I mean, come on. Just like I gave the definition before about purpose, purpose is the original intent by design of a creator or manufacturer of any person, place, or thing. And so God, being your creator, he knows what you are here to do. He knows what he's placed in you, and he knows what he desires for you to accomplish. And so you're going to have to find out, what is he saying about you? And you find that out through the word of God, through the Bible. It begins to give you instruction on life. It begins to give you insight about who you are and what you were born to do. And you need to begin to come into agreement with, what does the word of God say about me? What does the word of God say about what I can do and what I can have and where I can go? Right? And then you take possession of it. That's the way it works. Right? The world calls, affirmations, or, however they want to call it, you ever want to call it, is coming into an agreement with, what is God saying about you? God says that you're rich. God says that you're healthy. God says that you're wealthy. God says you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. You have to begin to embody that and begin to move in that direction. What else about the law of agreement? Agreement postures us to walk in complete integrity in ourselves. And when I talk about integrity, integrity says I am one in my thoughts, in my words, and in my deeds. Think about that. I'm gonna let that marinate on you for just a moment. Integrity is not just telling the truth. That's honesty, right? Integrity is a lot deeper. Integrity actually comes from a mathematical term, integer, meaning all one, meaning a whole number. It's not a fraction, it's a whole number. And so that word integrity is derived from integer, a mathematical term meaning a whole number, meaning you are a whole person in your thought, in your word, and in your deed, and those things that you do. And so when you understand that I need to come into agreement with not only what God says about me, but I need to come into agreement, mind, body, and soul and spirit, as to who he has said I am, and begin to walk that out. Otherwise, you're dealing hypocritically. Hypocritically simply means that you're wearing a mask, and that's not really you, right? You're really not meant to be suffering in poverty right now. You're really not meant to be working a job paycheck to paycheck right now. You're really meant to be a person of influence, a person who carries answers and delivers them effectively. So when we begin to move throughout our life, what happens is we begin to make discoveries. And it's those discoveries that lead us to the next clue of our life, or the next destination of our life. All right. So you got to walk in a level of agreement with who God says you are, and you got to say that and know it every day. You got to be fully persuaded of who God has made you to be, what he has called you to do, where he's called you to go. And it's more than just saying an affirmation. It's like you're literally embodying this thing. You're embodying that you are rich, that you are wealthy, that you are healthy, that you are a success, that you are strong, that you are an overcomer. You're embodying that. So any challenge, any obstacle, anything that comes your way in life, you know how to overcome it. Why? Because you go back to what the author and creator and originator of your life told you about you. And listen, God cannot lie. It's not that he doesn't lie. He cannot lie. Once he says it, once he says that, once he gives that word concerning who you are, that's it. Now, all you have to do, this is the good part, all you have to do is come into agreement with that, right? Come into agreement with that. So now we're talking about laws here. Remember, laws carry inherently within them the judgment and the reward in themselves. So the law of consistency. And I talk about this in my book, Precision Purpose, Enjoying the Signature Life You Were Born to Live, right? We're talking about living your signature life, right? And so what happens is whatever you do consistently will produce a performance in your life. If you consistently overeat, you're gonna swell up, right? You're gonna be like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, right? You're gonna be too big. If you consistently spend your money recklessly, you're gonna be broke, right? If you consistently build and maintain relationship with your spouse and your children, you're gonna have good relationships. So whatever you do consistently, it's not what you do one time, it's not what you say one time, it's what you consistently do. It's what you repetitively, consistently do. Why? Because repetition deepens the impression. Whatever you're doing, that's how habits are formed. Think about it. You started out doing something one time, and then maybe you tried it another time, and then you did it another time. And eventually it became like an autopilot, just like we tie our shoes, right? The first time you tried to tie your shoe, it was a mess. It was just a big knot, right? But as you consistently and repetitiously did it the right way, it was an impression in your mind, and now you can tie your shoe no problem, right? And what happens, whatever is impressed must be expressed. So whatever you do repetitiously, it deepens the impression of that thing, and whatever's impressed must be expressed. All right. So we had to go through understanding what law is, understanding the different laws that govern life, that govern business, that govern wealth. Because once you begin to identify that, once you begin to identify that, the next thing that happens is now you begin to get the results of that. And so it's not so much, even as if we talk about business or we talk about sales, it's not so much that anyone else is better than you. It's that they have identified the laws of selling and converting leads to clients or closing deals. Why? And so when you begin to identify what those laws of success are, now you can begin to experience the same results that anybody else is experiencing who has been, quote unquote, successful in accomplishing whatever it is that they said they were going to do. Now, later on in here, I'm going to talk about goal setting, and I'm going to give you my 5 goal setting rules, right? But before we get to that, it's something that's important that you need to know, and it's about time management. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but I feel the need to share right now, because if you cannot manage time, you cannot effectively manage money. Think about that. I want you to think about that for a moment, because money, time are both. One of them is a renewable asset. The other one is a non-renewable resource, right? And so what happens is you can get more money, but you can't get more time. And so the way that you manage your time in essence becomes the way that you manage your money. And if you are always late for things, if you are always, kind of running behind and you're going to have a hard time managing large sums of money. And so the way that you manage your money is the way oftentimes you're going to manage your time, and vice versa. So what is your answer to the marketplace? Discovering your answer. Let me show you how you're going to discover your answer. It's going to come in one of three ways. One, through natural gifting. And this is also the way or clues to you identifying your purpose. Natural gifting. What are those things? You should take inventory of those things that you do well. What are those things that the natural giftings, the raw talent that you have not been working, that you have not been developing, that you think that, oh, it's just a hobby or something that I love to do. You never really saw it as a business or a product or a service. I'm going to show you in that 15-minute consultation how you can convert your talent, your gift, your ability into a product or service. Guaranteed. All I want you to do is email me, osazi@osazithompson.com. Say, hey, Osazi, I heard the presentation you did today. I'd like to be a part of this 15-minute free, no obligation consultation. I'm going to have my assistant to get set the meeting up, and we're going to meet. And we're going to go through identifying what your answers are. We're going to begin to go through and see how you can take your gift and convert it to gold, essentially. So natural giftings is one. Next, passionate interest. Those things that you have a desire or a passion to know more about. Maybe it's a people group that you want to help. Maybe it's something in society that you see is wrong, something wrong with that. And maybe you have an idea of how to fix it, right? This is giving you clues about your answer to the market, your answer in the marketplace. And then lastly, what I call discoveries and occurrences. Discoveries and occurrences basically are some things that you're already involved in. Maybe you volunteer here. Maybe you do this thing. Maybe you make pies, and every holiday season you make a lot of money making pies. But after the holiday season is over, you go back to working the 9-to-5 job. Well, maybe, just maybe, that pie baking gift and that talent is something that can be converted into a business. Or maybe you braid hair, or maybe you are very analytical, and maybe you're very detailed. Maybe you're good at administration and organization. Maybe you're really good at putting deals together. Maybe you're really good at math, and so whatever that thing is, you can already be operating in it at some capacity. But for whatever reason, you never put it together that this is a business. This is an answer to the marketplace. This is something I can really put together. I can see myself putting it together, packaging it right, and delivering this to the market. I want to help you do that in the 15-minute call. Go and email me after this presentation, osazi@osazithompson.com. I'll have that information for you toward the end of this presentation. All right. So still talking about living this signature life, right? What are you doing with your time? Right? Remember, we said the way that you work, that the way that you manage your time is the way that you'll manage your money. So I want to ask you, what are you doing with your time? Because time management is not the management of the physical hours of the day. Time management is the management of the activities that you engage in within a given time frame in a day. Because we all have the same 24 hours in a day. We all have the same 86,400 seconds in a day. But it's what you do with your time that will result in success for you or not success for you. And so it's the activity. And what I like to call it is, what are the income producing activities that you're doing during your waking hours. Because contrary to what people say, sleep is for suckers, and don't sleep. Everybody, you got to sleep. You're gonna go to sleep. Right? Don't sleep too much now, but your waking hours. What are you doing with that? How are you effectively working that? Are you working on your gifts? This is so important. Are you working on your gifts? And let me ask you this: if you are an employee right now watching this, that means you work in a job right now for someone. Is that skill set in alignment with your gift? Because there is a difference between your gift and a skill set. Skill sets are learned. Gifts are naturally endowed within us. Gifts, you can't do anything to earn it. You can't work for it, right? You can't pay for it. Hey, I'll pay you if I can get the gift of singing, right? You can't pay nobody to give you that. That's something that's given. Now, skill sets, and I like to use this illustration. I am a communicator, right? I have a gift of communicating. However, there is a skill set of public speaking that I have to sharpen in order to stay effective in what I do. And so understand, what is the gift that you have? And what are the skill sets that accompany those gifts? And I want to ask you this: are you working in your gift now? Are you working that thing out? Right? Maybe you're working a 9 to 5, and after work, do you come home and work on that gift? On the weekends, do you work on that gift? Or are you just content and satisfied with a paycheck every 2 weeks? Are you living on that 14-day cycle? Every 14 days, you get a check. Every 14 days, you get a paycheck. When in essence, you can get paid every day. You can be paid every day as an entrepreneur. You can be paid for the answers that you have, the answers that you're delivering. So time management is managing the activities that you engage in within a given time frame in a day. Okay? Is that activity working on your gift? And the better question, are you working out your gift? Working on your gift has to do with adding value by learning, by working on it. But working out your gift means that you are actually deploying this gift in the form of a product, a service, right? Answers to the marketplace. And there's an exchange of value. You giving value and you receiving value in the form of money or currency, right? So it's important to understand, what are you doing with your time? Because I said earlier, the way you manage your time is the way you'll manage your money. Are you managing your time effectively? Are you managing your money effectively? Because it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you're effectively able to manage and keep. That's a wealth principle. That's a wealth principle. So I want to talk about my 5 goal setting rules here. We have just a few minutes to go. We're almost done. Understanding that it is absolutely essential for you to set goals. If you want to be successful in life, you're going to have to set some goals. If you want to see growth in your life, you're going to have to set goals. If you want to have some level of fulfillment in accomplishing things in life, you're going to have to set goals. And I want to share with you, and I talked about this in my book, Precision Purpose, Enjoying the Signature Life You Were Born to Live. I outlined goals. I got like almost a whole chapter on goal setting and goal accomplishment, goal achieving. Because it's one thing to set the goal, it's another thing to fulfill it or accomplish that goal. And so we're talking about goal setting here. Goal setting, Osazi's goal setting rule number 1. And this is paramount. This trumps them all. That's why it's number 1. Locate where you currently are in life and then identify where it is you desire to be. Locate where you currently are in life, in whatever area of life, in your relationships. Locate yourself. Be honest. In your physical health, locate yourself. Be honest. In your money, right? It's a big one. Locate yourself. Be honest, right? If you're living paycheck to paycheck, if you're experiencing more month than money, right? You need to identify, where am I? And more importantly, where is it that I desire to be? Do I desire to live in the land of just enough? Or do I desire to live in the land of abundance and more than enough? You have to make that determination. You have to make that decision. And quite frankly, you'll be paid based on the problems that you solve. I want you to think about that for a minute. A company pays an employee based on the relevance of income that it brings into that organization, right? So naturally, a director will be paid more than an entry-level position. Same thing in life. Whatever it is that you have identified as being a problem that you're born to solve in life, you're going to be paid according to that. So the bigger the problem, the bigger the payout. Smaller the problem, the smaller the payout. That's a law. That's the way, that's how it goes, right? And you can't get around that. Men make rules and men break rules. But God established laws, and these laws are consistent. They have been from the beginning of time, and they will be into eternity, because God made those rules. Remember, the law has both the judgment and the reward inherently built inside of it. Okay? So if you work with the laws, and let me just give you an example. And I know I've talked a lot about laws here, but just like an airplane, the law of lift, the law of thrust, the law of drag, right? It's 4 laws that in essence help planes to fly. Thousands and thousands of tons of metal and glass gliding through the air like a feather, just floating through the air. Why? Because of the laws. And if you are able to cooperate with the laws of wealth, with the laws that God has placed in the earth for business, with the laws of life, then you too are going to be successful in whatever it is you've been born to do. But first, you must identify where you desire to be. And that desire is going to come. God gives us the desire of our heart, right? Psalms chapter 37, verse 4 says that God grants us the desires of our heart. And we're talking about that. That's like a law, what's called double reference. That means it has more than one meaning. So God will grant you, meaning to provide or to give you the desire of the heart, but he will also grant you, meaning to access or give you permission to do that. He'll give you access to that. He'll grant that desire. And it's the desires of our heart that many times are leading us into the destination or destiny for our life. And every destination is built on decision, but the decision comes from a desire. So you have to have an expectation for something, which is a desire to have it. And that desire is going to move you to making a decision. That decision must be backed by what I call supporting and corresponding actions. So you can't meet the goal if there's a disconnect between the desire and you acting it out, or the supporting or corresponding actions that support that desire, right? It's like a lot of people have big dreams, but a lot of people are not willing to put in the work to get the desire, the results of that dream. So that's number one, right? Identifying where you are, locating where you are, then identifying where it is you desire to be. Goal setting rule number 2. Set goals that are aligned with advancing you toward a specific target as it relates to your divine destiny. Simply put, be specific in your goals. Osazi's goal setting rule number 3. Position yourself to be successful and prosper. Do not wait on someone else to you. You can't have an entitlement attitude that thinks somebody owes you something, or I deserve this. They should be doing this for me. No. That's not the mindset of an entrepreneur. I can tell you that right now. That's the mindset many times of an employee. I work this hour and they owe me this. They owe me sick days and vacation days, and they owe me that. Don't nobody owe you anything. An entrepreneur takes ownership of their own life, and you set that up. You set yourself up to be successful, right? You set yourself up to prosper. You're not waiting on somebody to give you a handout, right? You're the one handing out, right? I can remember how God took me from being an employee to being an employer. Now I have people that I hired this year, just this year. So you have the ability to go from being an employee, from looking for a job, to being an employer, to being the one hiring people for the job. And I want to show you how to do that. And this Saturday, I held a 5-hour summit, the Employee to Entrepreneur Summit, the 5-hour summit. Everything you need to know about starting, growing, and expanding your business. And I'm doing that all throughout the year, Osazi's goal setting rule number 4: identify strategic resources and the most important part, and employ them where and when needed. So in essence, that basically means that whatever it is that you see as a strategic resource to get you to your next level, as you climb, as you go from one level to the next, you're going to have to employ them where and when needed. You can't wait, you're hoping that some happen, right? No, you're going to have to do that. You're going to have to take ownership of your life. You're going to have to take ownership of where you're going. And you got to take ownership of what you have been charged to do in life. Drums, please, right? Number 5. Osazi's goal setting rule number 5 is: if you fail to plan, then you have planned to fail. Simply put, think about it. Just like we talked about goals. One thing about goals now, if you don't set them, you'll never meet them. So you're going to have to see growth in your life. In order to do that, you're going to have to set some goals. You're going to have to visualize, where is it that I desire to be 12 months from today? You see the big picture of it. Now work your way back. How did you get there? Step by step, and then work that thing right back to having that. Then that goes for relational goals. That goes for personal health goals. That goes for financial goals. Whatever goals you have in your life. Spiritual goals, right? Faith goals. You go from level to level. You go from faith to faith. You go from level to level. So you got a plan. Okay? So that's how you're going to come into living this signature life. That's how you're going to live the signature life you were born to live. That's a life on purpose. As you can see, everything that we went through, all through this, and it's almost been an hour now. Thank y'all for hanging in there with me. It's almost been an hour. And everything that I've shared with you has to do with you taking action. There's no sitting back, twiddling your thumb. No, you're moving forward. You have a vision and you're taking action on it. You're moving forward on it. So what I like to do, I want to give you an opportunity to connect with me. I'd like to connect with you so that we can get you from where you are to where you desire to be. Email me today, complimentary 15-minute coaching consultation with myself. You can call that number. You can email that address right there, osazi@osazithompson.com. We will turn around your email and we'll get you in front of me. We'll talk about where you are, where you desire to be, what you're looking to accomplish in your life. If you're an employee, we'll take you through my crossover system where you'll actually cross over from employee to entrepreneur. Or if you're already an existing business owner, we'll take you from a low performing to a high performing level, right? Or if you feel that you're successful in business right now, we'll take you to another level. Wherever you're looking to go. It's not hard. It just takes your desire. It just takes your buy-in. So email me today. Right after this, you can take a screenshot of this. And I want to hear from you. I want you to email me at osazi@osazithompson.com, or you can call this number right here. This is my business. This is my office, my business line. Call me today. Email me today. I want to get in front of you. I want to help you. All right. So if that is, that's all I have to share with you today concerning this topic. There's a lot more I could share with you, but we all have to do things and work has to be done. So I'm gonna turn it back over to Miss D. Thea Aldridge. Woo, 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 woo.
Hey, Osazi, amazing. Yay.
Woo, woo,
Oh my
woo,
gosh,
woo,
I learned so I know, right? Right. I learned absolutely a lot in that. I mean, our we had some amazing audience members. I had a watch party and in the Black Focus Business Focus group. I mean,
all
people
right.
were in there, they were listening. We had 20 people, I mean, just listening,
Wow.
tuned in, because
All right.
people need to hear this. We're in
Hmm.
the midst of a pandemic, not a
I
pandemic. It's
like
time
that.
for you to plan where you're going. It's time for you to get
Yeah.
some 2020 vision in a 2020 year and take yourself to
Yeah.
the next level. And so, Asazi, I really appreciate you as a thought leader coming on to our Birthing Your Greatness Lunchtime Learning Series. Thank everybody who tuned in. We really
Yeah.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Yeah.
Don't forget, you guys, we've been going at this since September. September the 21st is when we started. This was 4 weeks. This is the last week. Every day at noon Central Standard Time, we have another thought leader on here that will be bringing the fire, just like Osazi did. And Osazi, I really appreciate it. I'm going to throw up your email address one more time,
Okay.
just in case. For those of you who are interested in setting a free 15-minute consultation, don't forget Osazi at osazithompson.com. And for those of you who have missed, and I don't know who that could be because I don't know where you've
I
been,
don't
but
know
if
either.
you've missed the BYG Summit, the Lunchtime Learning Series, then you might want to order those replays. I think it's
Yeah.
like $10 for you to get everything plus the bonuses. So I'm gonna
ten
throw up
dollars.
that
Yeah. Yeah. Giving it away.
we're giving it away, but we only giving it away until Friday. After Friday, it's gonna go its normal price, which is 99. So for those of you who want it, you might want to get it while we doing it at a tithe rate. Okay, 10%. But that's bit.ly/BYG Summit. That'll get you all of the live speakers plus the bonuses. There are ebooks, worksheets, all of that in there. It's to jumpstart you. It's to get you so you can push out your greatness. Well, guys, we have 2 minutes left. Osazi, what you got? You got anything you want to say in this last minute?
Absolutely. I thank you for the opportunity again. But I just want to share with those who are really looking to break out of repetitive cycles of poverty, repetitive cycles of lack and scarcity. I really sincerely, I want to help you. I want you to go to this email, sazi@osazithompson.com. Let's connect today because God did not desire for you to be a person of insignificance and poor. He desired for you to be rich, and He's placed those riches inside of you. And the only way you're going to get them out is if you begin to work them out. And you remember what we
Work.
talked about. There are things in you right now. There are answers in you right now that somebody's waiting on. They're waiting to pay you for what you've been given for free. It's in you. Think about it. So let me help you
You.
today. Go to the email, osazi at
Awesome.
osazithompson.com.
Right there below. Go to that email address. Guys, we appreciate it. Join our Facebook group to Birthing Your Greatness. But definitely, this was brought to you by the Collaborative U. Collaborative U is an online e-learning platform where we empower, encourage, and educate, empower, and encourage you to be your best you. All right, we are out. Peace. Thank you so much for joining us. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow on the Lunchtime Learning Series. Bye bye.